In this video, I will break down how I was able to make $5 million cash by 25, and I want to break down all of the formulas for success, my mindset, my routine, and the stuff that helped me get to this result. What I want to say before starting into this video is I don't make my money by selling information to people. There's a lot of people out there that make money by showing other people how to make money and this crazy big scheme. I make my money with services, right? I don't want to use this video to talk about my business model too much, but just so you know that before we start into the video, I don't have the goal to say anything with this video. My main goal with this video is help more people in the market make more money. That's straightforward. My goal with this content, I've been super excited. I never really shared a lot of behind the scenes because I'm a big believer in success first, content second. So I don't want to use content to like make money or to get success. For me, it was always to like put your head down, achieve something, and then you can talk about it, right? So now we got that out of the way. I'm super excited for this video. I hope this is super helpful for you. And now let's get right into this. So for me, quick background. As you know, my name is Weische. I've been fascinated by entrepreneurship for a decade now. So back in 2015, I took my first steps out of my childhood room, living with my parents, and sold limited clothing like Yeezys, like Supreme, like Jordans, and all of that stuff. This was the first thing that I did back in 2015. And then over the years, I repeatedly tried out different business models such as Amazon FBA, dropshipping, freelancing, whatever it is, you name it, I've done it. And then from 2018 to 2021, I completed my Bachelor of Science in Business Administration because this like whole field of business was just so interesting for me. And then I put my focus during my bachelor on e-commerce and business psychology. And then I wrote my bachelor thesis on the whole topic of the relevance of personality traits to entrepreneurial success, because I wanted to examine how you can force success. And I wanted to examine, because I was always a big believer in your mindset dictates your success, and like the big chunk of your success happens here and not like on your skill set or whatever it is, but like actually in your mind. So I was always a big believer of that. I've read it in dozens of books and all of that, but I wanted to see basically what the research found, right? So I dove deep into research, into hundreds of studies of where people examined entrepreneurs, startups, new business ventures, and it was super exciting and interesting to see what they found really worked, right? And not some internet guru, not some book, not some podcast, but really like doing studies around this topic. So basically wrote my bachelor thesis, got done with my bachelor, and then validated what I discovered through this work, through these past years with my own company. So my business model is pretty simple and straightforward. We make e-commerce companies more money and we take a fraction of that as compensation. And over the last years with this business model, I've not only made over $5 million in cash, but also a lot of really, really valuable experiences that I want to share in this document. This is not to brag. This is not to show everyone the kind of money I make. This is more so to give you an understanding of my background and who's speaking to you now. And also so you can evaluate for yourself whether or not you want to give this information in this video your attention and energy, because the resources of everyone is limited in terms of your time, in terms of your energy and focus, and you should put this to validated information. So now that we have all of this introduction out of the way, what are you going to learn from this document now? Good question. You will learn what the most important factors for entrepreneurial success are. Not only what I've read in hundreds of books, what I've seen from the money that I've invested over the past couple of years, not only what I found from a bachelor thesis, but actually what I validated with my own company that got me to where I am now. So the three big topics that I'm going to cover now is, first of all, how do you make a lot of money? Secondly, what are the key factors for success in business? And thirdly, why do so many people give up? So what you're going to find in this video, I made everything as straightforward as possible, as simple as possible, and also as actionable as possible. There's oftentimes a lot of overload of information happening, and I'm not a big fan of that. So I wanted to make it really straightforward. So this is not to like overload you with information. This is really to the key, the most important thing, the 20% you have to do to get 80% of the results, right? So let's dive right into this. How do you make a lot of money? And for this, I have 3 key concepts that are logical and that are following in order. So key concept number 1, there's a relationship between the price you can charge and the value you create. So you make money when you create value. You create value by reducing pain, and you reduce pain from your customer when you solve their problems. So you always get paid in relation to the size of the problem you solve. I'm going to say this again. You always get paid in relation to the size of the problem you solve, which is why if you solve a problem that everyone can solve, you're not going to get paid much, right? If you're replaceable, you're not going to get paid much. And this is also why people like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or other huge people that solve problems for millions or billions of people are getting paid such a big amount of money, because the relation of the size of the problem is just so huge. So key concept number 2, following up on this. For every problem, there's a group of people who have the same problem and are willing to pay money to solve this. So your offer is then that you solve a problem X for a niche Y. And then key concept number 3, making a lot of money simply means that you solve as big as a problem as possible for as many people as possible. So as soon as you have a validated offer, meaning you are able to solve a problem, a specified problem for a specified price to one person, you then always have the same levers. You need to generate as much impressions for your offer as possible. You need to get as many people interested in this offer, meaning you generate sales calls. Then you need to close as many people as possible, meaning you generate deals. And then you need to implement/execute on the product you have, and then you make money. And this, by the way, is the same whether you have an agency, whether you have a service, whether you have a coaching, consulting, whether you are selling a physical product like e-commerce, right? You always need to generate a lot of impressions for your offer. You then either have a sales call or you have a funnel like a website. Then you close them or you sell them online, and then you send them the product or you deliver the service. So it's always the exact same flow. And then if you want to make more money, you have to improve one of those big levers. So you either generate more impressions, you generate more sales calls or more people that click on the website, and then you close more people or you convert more people, right? It's pretty straightforward. So this is the whole key concept of how you can make a lot of money. So now that we got that out of the way, I want to dive into what are the key factors for business success. What are the key factors for success? For this, I have 2 key concepts. So the first one is what I found from my bachelor thesis. What I did was I actually wrote this thesis in German. So I duplicated it. I had it translated, right? As you can see. So therefore, a lot of the stuff will obviously be translated really well, but there may be some hiccups. But I wanted to give this to you. So if you have the time, what I would do is really read through these. I think it's like 35, 40 pages of content, right, where I broke down all of the studies that I found, all of the results that I found. And this is really interesting. So take your time, right, go through this, read this, because this is going to give you a really good understanding of the concept that I'm going to talk about. With all of this video, I want to keep it to like 45, 60 minutes to make it really concise. And again, I could just talk hours about this bachelor study. So let's get to the gist of this. The central question that I asked in this bachelor thesis was to what extent do personality traits affect the success of entrepreneurs? And if so, how can the findings be used to reduce the risk of startup projects? And then what I did was I was going through all of the studies that I could find where people analyzed key factors of entrepreneurial success, such as business growth, business revenue, business longevity, and all of that, right? And they figured out that there are so many different factors that have an indirect and a direct effect and correlation with business success. And what you can see, for example, in this model here that I found is that there's always this thing called self-efficacy, right? That has a direct effect on venture growth and entrepreneurial success. And this is what I found through all of the studies, right? There's also other stuff such as how you set your goals, or how you communicate your vision, or your passion that you have, or how you're able to always find new resources, or how you have tenacity, or your age, skill set, right? So there's like a lot of factors applying into this. But then you can see that always self-efficacy, if you compare to all of the other factors, by like 0.34 with the star is like the highest effect. So I don't want to talk too much about the method, but basically this researched the factor of the direct effect of each of these, right, to venture growth. And there you can see that self-efficacy had the highest one. And this is what I found through all of the studies, right? This is what you're going to see if you look at all of the different studies that I cited during this bachelor thesis. So basically the conclusion, as I wrote in the end, is that in summary, the central research question of this thesis, which was to what extent do personality traits affect the success of entrepreneurs, and how can we use these findings to minimize risk in startup projects, can be answered in the sense that company success is influenced by the personality traits of the entrepreneur, and risk management can then be used to specifically minimize the risk in startup projects. This work builds on years of entrepreneurial research from a psychological perspective and focuses primarily on the direct effect of personality traits on entrepreneurial success. In a systematic literature research, the essential and relevant research contributions were identified and then related. What stands out is that some personality traits, especially self-efficacy and persistence, as well as active risk management, have a direct positive effect on company success. At the same time, there are personality traits such as overconfidence or excessive optimism that have a negative impact on entrepreneurial success. So basically the whole point that I want to make with this key concept is that even the research and all of the studies show you that self-efficacy has the biggest impact on entrepreneurial success. So if you don't know what self-efficacy is, it's basically your skill, right? It's basically your skill to believe in that if you say something or if you put on a goal that you achieve that, right? As you can see here on Google, it refers to your belief in your ability to execute a behavior necessary to produce specific performance attainments, right? So this is self-efficacy, and this is super important. And this brings me also to the second key concept, is that 80% of business success has nothing to do with business, right? It happens all up here in your mind, in your brain. It's your mindset that you have. It's how you view life. It's how you view business. It's how you view yourself, right? It's not necessarily your skill set in terms of how good of a copywriter are you, how good of a salesman, or how good of a whatever media buyer, creative strategist you are. It's more about the mindset that you have to fuel your entrepreneurial drive, right? So this was super, super interesting, and it validated like my core beliefs that I always had around business success and entrepreneurial success. But then again, not hearing it from any guru on the internet, but actually finding it from the research online. So now that we went through this key concept and the findings that I had in my bachelor thesis, I want to go into the second big concept. And this is also a big shout out to Sam Ovens. If you don't know him, or if you know him, please take your time, check out his YouTube channel. I've went through his whole consulting accelerator program, which is around like 30-40 hours of content. And what I wanted to do in this video is give you access to the key thing that really changed my life, which is the Alchemy of Self workbook. So I will show it to you. I actually have it printed out, and I use this every single day. So as you can see, I have this printed out. I actually went through this end of 2020. So on the 1st January 2021, I printed this stuff out, right? So what I'm going to do now is go through the whole workbook. This is going to take some time, because what I will do is I will condense like 30-40 hours of course content from Sam Ovens into like 20-30 minutes, right? To get the most important points across and to really help you use this. So the best thing that I can tell you is to download this, right? Download this and individualize it to yourself. It's not enough to just like go through this and like read it, but you have to actually individualize it to yourself and then use this every single day. And the reason that Sam named this alchemy of self is because you have to create yourself. You have to create the character that is able to reach your goals with ease. And this is what's this whole workbook about, right? To create your character, to create your mindset, and to manifest it so that you're able to reach your goals with ease. And that's what we're going to go through. And this is mind-blowing. This is life-changing. There's literally a version of myself before Sam Ovens, and there's a version of myself after going through this. And the people that know me, the people that have been with me since day one, like they know that from like every single morning, like a crazy person, I would take this and I would walk around my room multiple times a day and I would read this out loud to like really manifest and to like really create the belief system for this. So what I want to do is go through this and explain this stuff to you so you can have an understanding of how to use it and why it's so important. So it all starts with important things to remember. So these are 9 mental frameworks that are really, really essential, that are going to help you a lot in business. So first of all, it doesn't matter what is true, only what you believe is true, because with work they will become true. Your thoughts create your beliefs become your reality. The universal theory of everything and the master algorithm of evolution is beliefs equals actions equals results equals feedbacks. You must intercept your own algorithm at the belief stage, take massive action with your new beliefs, experience your results, listen to feedback, and then iterate your beliefs and actions again and again each time to perfect the process. I opened up this pin-up, right, for this first mental framework, which is basically these feedback loops that you will experience in your life. So you always have a belief, right? Let's say I'm a really fit person. Then you always have an action, something like you will go to the gym 5 times a week, you will eat healthy, you will sleep 8 hours a night, right? Then you have a reality, right, which is you are a fit person based on your actions, and then that feeds back into your belief and makes this belief stronger, right? Like you will experience this everywhere in life. So which is why he says that if you want to change something in your life, you need to intercept this feedback loop at the belief stage. So for example, if right now you have a belief, something like I'm not good enough, right? Or I'm not good enough for a fit body. I'm not good enough to make millions of dollars a year. I'm not good enough for this, right? Like let's say you have a certain belief, then you need to change that belief. And then also what Tony Robbins always says, that it's not enough to just think you're different or you have a new belief or new character. It's like you change something and then you directly go into massive action, because only if with the new belief you then take massive action to create a new reality and have new feedback that gets you certainty into this new belief. This is how you validate it and how you manifest it. If you only change your belief, but then you don't do anything, you don't take massive action, then it's just going to go away like this, right? So that's why it's so important that you intercept at the belief stage, you change your belief, you then go into massive action, you experience a new reality because you had a completely different action, and you experience new feedback that channels into your new belief becoming a new belief. Right? So that's the first big mental framework. Secondly, where you are in life, your current situation, it's all you're doing. You build yourself and your life, and it's you who's solely responsible for where you are right now and where you got in the future. There's no external force, person, or thing against you. It's all you. This is basically extreme ownership, right? It's not your parents, it's not your friends, it's not your environment, it's not like a teacher that you had. It's only you that got you to this situation. So this is super, super important to just have as a mental framework, right? You got yourself into this and you are the person who's responsible to achieve what you want in life. The third one is a bit spiritual / esoteric. Basically what he's saying that we are not physical bodies bound to earth by gravity with a hopeless existence. We are the evolution of light, away from experiencing a consciousness, and what we perceive to be reality is simply a magnificent illusion. What he's trying to say here is that you can achieve anything you want in life. You create your own reality. And again, you are responsible for the reality you perceive and for your life as you create it, right? Like you have the power. The experience of life is, as he says, magnificent, and you have the power to create the lifestyle you want and to become who you want to be. The fourth one, we are not the highest version of ourselves which we can imagine. We are the lowest version of ourselves, which we can accept. And this goes into the pattern of existence, right? So what are you going to see is that there's always highs and lows in your life, and they change, right? They change all the time. So you go high, low, high, low, high, low. And this is in all of the areas of life. So what I advise you to do is map your pattern of existence, right? Like put in your highs and put in your lows for every area of life. Let's say I go to the gym 5 times a week. I eat healthy. I sleep 8 hours a night. I see my family once a week. I have $20,000 on my bank account. I close 3 clients a week. Whatever it is, right? And then your lows. I go to the gym twice a week. I sleep 6 hours a night. I don't see my family. I don't read every day. I close only 1 person a week, right? And what you're going to see is that all of your highs and all of your lows in every single area of life are happening at the same time, right? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if one area of your life crumbles, all of the other areas of life will crumble really shortly after. So this is also really eye-opening for you, that if you want to change something, it's often how you that you do this change in every area of life. 5th one, again, this is the patterns of existence that we just talked about. Be constantly aware of your own patterns of existence, so you can intertwine when you see a high moving into a low. 6th, the key to all evolution is variation, and when you start to grow tired of what is in the light, you must face what is in the dark. Nothing is static, and everything in this universe is forever becoming. The real question is, who am I becoming? This basically points to it's not about sitting down and being sad because you look at your past and you're like, oh, I've been bad, I've done this. Or you're looking at the current situation, you're like, I'm broke, I don't have a girl, I don't have a fit body, right? It's always about you focusing on who are you becoming. If you consistently work on moving towards this vision of who you are becoming, then you're successful, right? Then you're doing great in life. 7.1, our minds are an on-off system that are programmed over time to believe certain things, and our experience of reality is simply the result of those beliefs, right? I've studied NLP, which is basically what Tony Robbins does, right? Neuro-linguistic programming. I've had a 2-week seminar for the neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, which is the basic one. And then I had another 2-week seminar for the NLP master. And the main thing that they talk about there is also that your brain is basically this quantum computer with a certain operating system. Your brain isn't positive or negative or something, right? It's basically just a quantum computer, and it gives you output based on the input you give it and based on the operating system that you have running in your brain, right? So that's why if you want different outputs, you either have to give different inputs or you have to change the operating system, right? It's I hope this makes sense because this is also a really, really big concept. But this is one of the main things that they also teach in NLP. And this is super, super powerful if you understand this concept that you can basically program your brain to operate in different systems and different frameworks. And then you will get a different version of reality and achieve stuff and goals easier. Because only what you believe is your reality. It's always based on your belief system. Then the 8th one is constantly aware of mental feedback loops. What you think is what you think about. There's always a relationship between cause and effect, right? Mental feedback loops can build you up to be the best in the world, or they break you down until you consider taking your own life. A mental feedback loop is basically, and you've probably experienced this too, it's the same thing with your brain being in these in this certain operating system. So basically, let's say you wake up, you had a bad night of sleep, and you think, life is against me, right? This is what you start with. And then your brain is like, okay, he gave me the input, life is against me, I need to validate this, right? To get the feedback loop rolling. So your brain is then searching for certain aspects that will validate your statement of life is against me. And then maybe you go over you cross the street and somebody honks at you, and then your brain picks it up and then puts the label on this experience that life is against you, right? And then it feeds back into the initial statement of life is against me. And then you validate that, and then you search for more and more and more, right? And this is a negative and destructive feedback loop that you won't get out of that easily. And the same thing happens with positive mental feedback loops, right? You wake up, you feel great, you go out, and then maybe like a girl is smiling at you, right? And then you have this positive feedback loop of, oh damn, right? Like, I'm doing great. I'm a great guy. And then you have a nice conversation on the street, and then you get a call from somebody that cheers you up or something, right? And then you have your brain then automatically labels all of these experiences to validate the initial input you gave into the brain. Also, as you can see, like each of these concepts are super, super big and super powerful and life-changing. Like each of these was like 1 or 2 hours of course content. So as again, I'm doing my best to keep this pretty concise. And then the 9th one is, most people's character has become so strong and defined that it's reversed the roles and pulling the strings on its own master. You have to pin your character down and define exactly who it is and what it's capable of. And this is the idea that your mind is different to your character and who you are, right? And think of this as like you play GTA, and you playing with the controller is basically your mind telling the character what to do, and the character is the person that you see on the screen, like walking around, beating people up, or whatever you tell it to do in GTA. And then basically what happens is that, and you've experienced this probably, your mind gives an action to the character, right? Something like, let's go to the gym. And then your character, if it's too strongly defined, right, like being lazy or something, it may give you the feedback like, oh no, we're lazy, come on, we're not going to the gym. And then you will actually not go to the gym, right? So you have to be really, really aware of that in terms of your character, like the skills you give it, the labels you give it, the achievements you give it, the traits you give it, right? So that your character is able to achieve your goals with ease. If everybody knows you for the lazy person, right, because they've just seen you for this for like 20 years, it's going to be super, super hard to then change into becoming the super fit CrossFitter that goes to the gym 7 times a week, simply because your character is so pinned down on being the lazy person. This is what you have to change. Sweet. So these are the first 9 mental frameworks that are super, super important. Now let's go to the next page. This is basically your daily ritual, just saying that you should go through this every single day to remind yourself of this whole workbook. And then on the right-hand side, you can see daily performance tracking. This is basically just to put in the date, put in what time you woke up, whether you did go to the gym, whether you went through the workbook, when you started working, when you ended working, your performance from 0 to 100%, and then when you went to bed. This is just to give you a good overview over your performance. Then what you can see on the left-hand side is your identity, right? So who you want to become. Again, this is based on the first mental framework. It's always about who you are becoming, right? So this is always to show you what are you working towards, who are you becoming, what is the identity you're building, right? And then on the right-hand side, you can see the legacy. What have you achieved until this date, right? So that if you look at this, you remind yourself of, okay, this is where I came from. This is my success. These are my achievements, and this is where I'm going towards. And this is super powerful to always remind yourself of this. Now on the next pages, it's the story. This is basically the legacy broken down into like a timeline, right? So that you can again see where you come from and all of the different steps you had across your timeline, right? This is also super powerful. And then it basically runs up with a manifesto, right? So imagine a journalist is writing about you in 5 years. What is he going to write about? And this should include all of the successes that you're going to achieve until then. This is basically the written format of this here. And then the identity is basically also the written format of this, that of the character that can achieve this. And then the last pages are your goals, right? Your goals for this year in every area, and then your affirmations. And this is basically the whole workbook, right? It looks simple, it looks straightforward, but believe me, this is mind changing. This is mind blowing. This is life changing. I've used this every single day, right? I started doing this 1st January 2021, and I cannot tell you how much this changed my life. And this is why I wanted to give you this, right? And I hope this is going to help you. And again, it's about the execution, actually individualizing this to yourself and then executing on it on the daily. These have been 2 pretty big concepts, but these are the key factors for business success. Again, it all happens up here. And the best thing you can do is to build your mindset so that you can achieve success. Now, let's go to the next thing. One really important business formula, and this is more in the execution thing. For me, business success can be broken down really simple. It's energy with focus times the input, and then with time is going to get you a result, right? So what does that mean for you? Your energy focused on a certain input over time leads to the results you get. So your energy is your ability to do work. Your focus is how much you concentrate your energy. Your input is where you focus your energy. The time is how long you focus your energy on the input, and the result is your output. So accordingly, as an entrepreneur, you must have a lot of energy. You must focus and reduce distractions. You must put your focus on the right input. You must build momentum for compound effect and do it over a long time, and then enjoy and harvest the results. So I want to break down these 5 different areas now and give you the biggest levers that you have. Again, one of my main rules, simplicity is key. If I overload you now with anything, you won't implement it right away. So I will follow the 80-20 principle and give you the most important thing. So step number 1, maximize energy. You want to focus your entire lifestyle on performing during your working hours. The following routine that I'm going to give you is maximized for business success, not to become a bodybuilder, not to become an athlete or whatnot. This is focused on business. So for me, to maximize energy, you have to optimize sleep, nutrition, training, recharging, and lifestyle, right? So for sleep, get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single night. This means you're in bed for 8 to 9 hours, and you want to calm down 1 to 2 hours before you go to bed, right? So you don't want to be on TikTok until the last minute until you sleep. The best supplement that I can suggest you is the Thorn Magnesium Bisglycinate. This is basically the purest form of magnesium. I take this over like 1.5 to 2 years now, and this is game changer in terms of it really calms you down and gets you into this like really recharging sleep state, like the REM state. For nutrition, the simplest rules I can give you is as much unprocessed food as possible, lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of meat, all of the good stuff, and a variety of your protein sources in terms of have some steak, have some fish, chicken, and dairy products. I like to do 3 to 4 meals. In the morning, I like to go high protein, medium fat, low carb. Around lunch, I like to do high protein, medium fat, medium carb. And then for dinner, I like to go medium protein, medium fat, high carb. The idea behind that is that protein keeps you full and keeps you energized and keeps you focused, and carbs spike your glucose, right? And then it takes all of your focus into your gut and away from your brain, right? And it makes you sleepy. So that is why during the day we want to go high protein to be really focused, energized, and alert. And then during the evening we want to go high carb to get the spike and get really tired. The amount of food and everything I would customize with like there are all these calculators online to like check your calorie requirements. And then for supplements, I like to have one good one for multivitamin, one ashwagandha to like calm down, to reduce stress, one maca for testosterone because we want to be high testosterone, vitamin C, D, and B complex. These are the basics, right? These are the must-haves. Have have all of the vitamins and minerals, reduce stress because you're going to have a lot of stress, have high T. High T is super important, so you're going to grind, and then these are just supplementary. Training, I like to do strength and cardio training 5 times a week. I would suggest at least 3 times a week. I do this literally every single morning before I start my workday. I go into the gym, I go on the assault bike, do 30 minutes of intense cardio. Afterwards, I go into my strength training. To recharge and fill up batteries, every single week, I take 2 days completely off. Every single quarter, I take 7 to 10 days completely off, and off means nothing to do with business. Do what you enjoy. Put down your Mac, put away your iPhone, and just chill, right? Like, this is super important to recharge your mind also, because otherwise you're going to burn out. You're not going to be productive. Lifestyle, I will meet with friends 1 to 2 a week. I put this into brackets because not everyone has a partner, but otherwise also 2 to 3 times a week quality with your partner, and then 2 to 4 times a month to see your family. And this is basically it. This is everything. These are the biggest leverage activities to have high energy. Now, next step is maximize focus, because all of the energy in the world and all of your ability to perform work doesn't matter if you focus it on the wrong things. If I have 8 hours of productive work every single day and I focus the 8 hours on dialing in my desk setup, then I will just not make money, right? Simple as that. So you have to maximize focus. For this, I like to have a really solid calendar. I have deep dive blocks where I just tackle one big task, right? And then I block everything out in my calendar. So I like to have 2 to 3 hours of deep dives multiple times a day where I just get like one big thing done. For mental clarity, again, we went through this. It's all about fitness, nutrition, sleep, and then using caffeine. Pretty basic. And then you want to reduce stress and distractions to minimum. Stress, especially private stress, because you cannot really reduce business stress. You're going to have a lot of business stress, but reduce private stress. So you don't have an argument with your girlfriend the night before or something like that, because that's going to be on your mind and that's going to distract you. And also distractions like notifications, like your phone, like somebody being able to call you, right? If I do a deep dive, I have my phone in airplane mode. I have a do not disturb on my Mac. I have all of the notifications off so I can just get shit done. Next one, step 3, high ROI task. Basically, where do you focus all of your energy in? The input is you basically just have to ask yourself, what do you have to do? What do you have to work on to advance your business? Again, it's probably one of these, right? It's either, let me copy and paste this. It's either generating more impressions, closing more people, and getting more people interested, closing more people, or like implementing, executing more, right? So as Alex Hormozi likes to say, you either focus on the number of units you sell or how much profit you make per unit. It's mostly one of those two, right? You either need to sell more or you need to make more profit. And this is lifetime profit, by the way. Pretty straightforward, right? The fourth one, momentum and patience for compound effect, right? This is why time is used as a factor to multiply all of this, because let's say you are high energy, you have a great focus, you work on the right things, but you do this for one day. Yeah, guess what? Breaking news, you're not going to get a great result. So you have to do this over a long period of time, not a week, not a month, not a year. You want to be able to do this multiple years to harvest compound. And then basically the fifth one is harvest the results, right? Simple as that, and then enjoy life. So these are the most important things, right? It looks pretty simple. The execution of this is a completely different story, but you want to put your energy and focus into optimizing energy, focus, input, and do this over a long period of time, and then you're going to be successful. Now, to kind of round this up, why do so many people give up? I see this so many times, even with a lot of people that I started with or that I motivated to get started with entrepreneurship. They just give up along the journey. And this is really sad to see. So I want to go through this concept of memory and compound effect versus time. This is also one concept from Sam Altman that helped me a lot along the journey. So basically, if you look at the effect of memory versus time and the output versus time, this is what it looks like. So let's say you have an action, right? For example, I record this piece of video. Today, if you ask me about this, I will have a high memory about it. If you ask me about what I did in a week, I will maybe still record that I recorded this video. If you ask me about this in 2 years, I will not record that I recorded this video on the 9th February. Basically, your memory declines exponentially over time in terms of the input that you gave into the business. And then the effect or your output increases exponentially over time. Meaning, if I do something now, it's not going to have a short-term effect on the business, but it's going to compound over time. So in like 2-3 years from now, this is going to have a really, really big compounding effect. And if you overlay those two, right, you can see that the actions you do now, if you think about it, you're not going to see any effect from it, but the effect that you're going to see, you're already going to have forgotten about how you got it, right? So for your brain, it's really difficult to connect the actions that led to the output that happened, right? So the main thing why people fail is that they kind of are in the middle of this, right? So they start a journey, they don't see an effect immediately, so they give up and quit before they reach the point where effect starts compounding. The people who stick at it long enough to experience compounding effect often forget what cause was responsible for creating it. This makes things appear chaotic and out of their control. So basically, the whole learning of this is you just have to stick doing it for long. If you keep showing up for years and you put in the effort, you're going to be successful, right? And this is what I want to kind of round up this video with. 99% of the 5M happened in the last 2 to 3 years, right? In the first 6-7 years, I made like 1% or less than 1%, right? So 1% of the 5 million happened in the 6 to 7 years before. So it could have been so easy for me to say, this is not worth it, this is not working, I will quit in the 6 to 7 years before. So this actually takes a long time. This is not a get rich quick here. Every single successful entrepreneur is going to tell you the same thing. It takes fucking time. These are, again, the most important things, right? I don't want to talk about the nitty-gritty stuff of like exactly how to get a lead or how to close someone. I want to give you the biggest leverage activities for business success. Again, I hope this is valuable for you. Let me know your thoughts around this. Let me know if you have questions to any of these concepts. Let me know your feedback in the comment section down below so I can create more videos like these and have more founders make money. So again, this was Weische. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Hope this was helpful and enjoy the content. See you in one of the next videos.